Tonight in Manhattan, the Lady Raiders of Texas Tech take on Kayla Goff and Peyton Williams of the Wildcats. Can the Wildcats shoot themselves out of a losing streak? Big 12 basketball back with you again here tonight as the Wildcats host Texas Tech in the first meeting between the two teams this season. Hello once again, Brian Smoller, joined by Missy Heydrich. We're glad you could join us for Wildcat basketball. K-State against Texas Tech, the matchup tonight, a must-win nearly for both teams. And for the Wildcats, they want to see Kayla Goff get going again.
Well, and she has to. And this is a young lady who has led all season long, where she's not only been a distributor, but a scorer. She's come into her own in terms of being able to create offense for herself and for her teammates. That pull-up jumper, one of the most difficult to guard in the Big 12. But tonight, she's going to have to find ways to score, both inside and outside, create for herself, get out in transition. The player to watch when you see those numbers is the assist line. She leads the Big 12 in assists. She can create for her teammates. They want to do that out in transition. Get going quick against the Lady Raiders.
Let's see if she can continue to feed players like this one, Peyton Williams, the second leading scorer for the Wildcats. Starting lineups when we return.
Improving each day not only applies to our football program, but also to your health. Small daily improvements such as eating more fruits and vegetables, living tobacco-free, and taking a short walk can all make a great impact on your overall wellness. Please join me, the Kansas Health Foundation, and Stormont Vale Health in our PowerCat Health Partnership, encouraging all Kansans to live a healthier life.
Welcome the newest member of our X family of games, the Kansas Lottery Multiplier Super Ticket. Score cash and multiply your bundle of joy up to $250,000.
Wildcat fans, blackout Bramlage as K-State men's basketball takes on Iowa State Saturday, February 17th. Tickets start at less than $20 with a Wildcat 4-pack. And make sure to purchase your official K-State Proud Black shirt. Reserve your seats today by visiting KStateSports.com or calling 1-800-221-CATS. Blackout Bramlage as the Wildcats host the Cyclones. Go Cats!
What happens when you register your Cox account and get a user ID and password? You open up a world of possibilities for all your Cox services, like access to live TV and on-demand shows with the Contour app, and TV network apps to watch on the go. Cox Security Suite Plus, powered by McAfee, and phone tools to keep you connected when you leave home. Discover what you can do. Check out the Cox Discover More video series at cox.com/learn.
K-State basketball is brought to you by the Kansas Lottery, proud sponsor of K-State basketball. Bud Light, proud friend of K-State basketball, famous among friends. And by Pepsi, proud beverage sponsor of the Wildcats for more than 40 years.
The Wildcats and the Lady Raiders for you here tonight. Let's get to the starting lineups brought to you by Pepsi. And for K-State, the Wildcats, of course, with Goff and Williams. We'll get to them in a moment. Here are the Lady Raiders starting five. This has been a revolving door. Brittany Brewer, though, a member of the Big 12 freshman team a year ago, averaging 9 points a game, and has certainly the capabilities of popping for a big number if she gets hot. As for the Lady Raiders head coach, it's an interim coach, Shimmy Gray-Miller, who took over after the first of the year when Katie Whitaker was let go for this program. As for K-State, the aforementioned Goff and Williams, who we already highlighted in the starting five, along with the freshman Rachel Ranke and two seniors Martin and Page. Jeff Mitty is the head coach of the Wildcats in his fourth year on the sidelines for the Wildcats. 73-49, his record for K-State. And matching up with the Lady Raiders for the first time this season. We now throw it to the third member of our crew, Caitlin Sabbert, with more on what Coach Mitty talked about, what he needs from his team today.
Yeah, hey Brian, K-State has kind of been at a standstill tonight recently. They've been struggling at home, and head coach Mitty said that they need to regain their confidence in shooting. He did mention Rachel Ranke, who does lead the team in three-point shooting, how she's becoming easier to guard, and teams are trying to focus on her, which is making her struggle as well as the team. So head coach Minnie said that this week practices have been going a lot better and they're going well. So let's hope K-State can regain their confidence tonight, Brian.
All right, thank you. That has been the theme going into today, was that there was an uptick in practice after what happened with Iowa State. Could it translate into wins here today if K-State is to somehow survive? We look at the Kansas Lottery keys to victory for both K-State and Texas Tech. What do you have for both teams, Missy?
Well, for the Lady Raiders, they've got to pound the post. They've got to use their size and strength to their advantage. You've got Terry, DeGreat, Brewer. They got to go at K-State's lack of post presence and defend the three. You've got to get out, put pressure on these K-State shooters, close out, find them in transition. For Kansas State, this sense of urgency, Brian, they're going to have to match the energy of Texas Tech. And where's this group's head? Are they ready to play? They've got to be challenged to do the little thing. And you've got to create some offense with your defense. Texas Tech averages almost over 20 turnovers a game. Pressure the ball, be active, get out in transition for some easy buckets off those turnovers. Make life easy on yourself, but you've got to do that, and it's just going to have to start on the defensive end.
Well, K-State will open up on the defensive end, a team that played, according to Coach Mitty, 3 different defenses against Iowa State in that shellacking they suffered at the hands of the Cyclones on Saturday. 2-3 zone is what they normally open up with. Threw a little bit of man and triangle and 2 against the Cyclones. You can see the Lady Raiders trying to get it inside. Here's the aforementioned Brewer. Out to Bright, 3-pointer not there. The 6'5" sophomore lefty Brewer fobbles it up.
And that's a good sign for the Lady Raiders because they did get that ball to the high post versus that zone. That's where you've got to be able to attack. They know they can't run offense for 25, 30 feet. K-State's got to block out. You got to put a body on people on the defensive board.
Here's the aforementioned Goff, headed towards an all Big 12 caliber season. Good defense by the Lady Raiders early. Goff forced to make something happen. The jump shot, nothing but net.
And it's going to be one-on-one opportunities for Kayla Goff, and they're going to try to keep her in front, which Angel Hayden did. The freshman's got a big matchup right there. You're going to see a lot of switching by Texas Tech. They want to force some different matchups.
This is not a great 3-point shooting team in Texas Tech. Shade under 27%. This is what they want to do, which is get it inside. Jada Terry, point blank. The Aggie transfer from A&M couldn't hit.
She's averaging almost 9.7 boards in Big 12 play, but again, you've got to go inside. K-State on that next possession able to find the ball to Peyton Williams, and that's where it's got to be. They want to turn up the heat now here defensively. Jeff Mitty imploring these guards, get out and pressure.
Trying to pressure Angel Hayden, a freshman. They get it to Brewer at the high post. She'll miss.
And those are good looks for Texas Tech. When they can put the ball in the middle of the floor versus zone, that's a good sign.
Ranke hits her first 3. Talk about good signs. That's a big one for K-State.
She was just 2 of 12 on the night in that loss to Iowa State. She's been averaging almost 10 points a game. She's a top 5 scorer for freshmen in the Big 12. She needs to find that confidence and get her feet set.
Trying to get Brewer tied up. Kaylee Page will get called for a reach-in foul. A good pace early for the Wildcats, who have come out hitting all 3 of their first shots. And you see Erin DeGreat, big body at a 6'5", transfer from Louisville, is in for the Lady Raiders. Open, wide open underneath was DeGreat. You could hear her screaming there in the crowd mic. Pass didn't find her. Brewer to DeGreat, who trips in the lane, and they're going to get a trip on Page, and that's 2 cheapy fouls on Kaylee Page.
And there's that high-low look from Texas Tech. That's how a lot of people like to attack this K-State 2-3, Brian. They're going to put posts at the top of the key free throw line, and they want to get to that low block.
And off the inbound, it's Brewer again, who's got all 4.
Yeah, she just cut straight to that low block opposite the basketball. Nobody steps in front. You got to get better communication defensively.
Shaylin Martin do it all forward for the Wildcats. Out to Page, who may be coming out with those 2 fouls. And the rebound to the Lady Raiders in transition. Racing Bright pulls back on the reins. And it goes to DeGreat. She'll power it up and in.
And that's where she's most effective. Back to the basket. As you said, the transfer from Louisville, 54% from the field in Big 12. That means she's incredibly efficient when she gets those catches on the block.
This is a team that sports a ton of size. Williams, who shows the range, pulls up and hits a long 2.
And that's the defensive matchup that's a struggle for Texas Tech, is Peyton Williams, because she's got perimeter range with her shot and she can put it on the floor and penetrate. They want to get her some touches where she can attack these Texas Tech posts.
Facing up, you would think that's a huge advantage. Looking for a backdoor pass. Zuri Sanders, a veteran, throws it out of bounds. So many transfers for Texas Tech as you look at Shimmy Gray Miller. Mentioned Terry from A&M. Brielle Blair, who we'll see later, from Virginia Tech. The great from Louisville. You've got a couple sitting out at the moment.
There's 2 transfers, one from Maine and one from Arizona State. So it has been a place where they've had a lot of transfers in their women's basketball program. Obviously a lot of changes with their coaching staff and what that will bring in the next year. But it has been a place where you've seen a lot of different faces and kids finding maybe a second chance.
The great somehow gets left wide open down on the block. And Texas Tech scores rather easily to answer back.
Erin DeGreat, she has been great against Kansas schools. She had 2 big games against KU when this Texas Tech team matched up against them. She had a double-double and incredibly efficient in those games as well. And we see it right off the gate. When she catches, she's able to finish and score. And K-State's got to do a better job of communicating, knowing there's people behind. Got to get back in transition and talk.
Goff gets to the free throw line. There you see some of the notes on Goff. 14 straight double-figure games. Now, while we said at the outset that K-State wants to see her getting going again, it's only from the standpoint of Goff has been able to get in double figures, but still not averaging quite the numbers we've seen earlier this year. She's only averaging a shade over 12 a game the last 3 games, but makes both free throws here.
And you got to think about it in the sense she draws a lot more attention than she probably did 2 months ago, and that's because she's been one of the only scorers. The big question mark for the Cats is where do you find other offense? They need someone else besides Kayla Goff and Peyton Williams to score. Those 2 themselves responsible for 45% of K-State scoring.
Brielle Blair, or Brittany Brewer, apologies, comes back 6 points for the left-hander who's been able to drive to that hand side and score.
And it has been all post game right now for Tech. As we said at the start, get in that post, find some opportunity to score, put some pressure on him with your size.
Frankie left wide open, swishes another.
She came around that screen ready to shoot the basketball, Brian. Hands were set, they find an opening. No switch on the screen by Texas Tech, wide open 3.
Texas Tech has been a team that has been guilty of giving up a lot of 3-point shots. Looking for Brewer, a little bit too hot on the pass from Sanders. That's 2 times Sanders has been a little too aggressive in that diagonal pass.
Well, and it's there. There is an opening, but it's a pass that you've got to be able to throw on a dime and thread the needle. And Sanders with 2 back-to-back possessions where she hasn't been able to do that. Those are ones they can't give away. That's where the turnover numbers start to come up for the Lady Raiders.
Peyton Williams facing up against DeGreat. Post to post, goes over now to Goodrich. And Goodrich hits a pull-up jumper. Not normally her strength, but the freshman from Chicago in the books.
She had 6 assists, but she also had a couple turnovers in that Iowa State game. And the biggest issue right now is that she's got to be able to be better with the basketball in her hands. That pull-up jumper is a good sign.
Rebound off the miss for Brewer against Ranke, and then a foul by K-State on the shot will put Brewer at the line. Big start already for the 6'5" sophomore Brewer. K-State, though, coming out hot. They've hit 6 of 7 shots to lead by 6.
With Cox high-speed internet, you get access to super fast in-home Wi-Fi to power all your devices and do the things you love online. And now, when you're traveling, you have free access to the nation's largest Wi-Fi network with over 500,000 hotspots, so you can stay connected in places such as New York City, Los Angeles, Washington, D.C., Phoenix, and many more. Learn how with the Cox Discover More video series at cox.com/learn. In today's world, connections are everything, which makes your Wi-Fi even more important. With Cox high-speed internet, you can get the latest equipment and access to super fast in-home Wi-Fi. You also get the security you need to protect your privacy. And when you travel, we're right there with you, giving you access to more than 500,000 Wi-Fi hotspots across the country. At home or away, Cox has you covered. Learn more with the Cox Discover More video series at cox.com/learn.
What happens when you register your Cox account and get a user ID and password? You open up a world of possibilities for all your Cox services, like access to live TV and on-demand shows with the Contour app, and TV network apps to watch on the go. Cox Security Suite Plus, powered by McAfee, and phone tools to keep you connected when you leave home. Discover what you can do. Check out the Cox Discover More video series at cox.com/learn.
K-State by 6 thanks to a 6 of 7 start, including a couple of three-pointers here in the early going. Not many rebounds to be had when the shots are all falling. The downside if you're K-State is the Lady Raiders have been able to get exactly what they want. All 10 points have come from the paint.
Well, and if you look at both sides of it, that's exactly what Texas Tech needs, is that they're able to put that ball in the post, whether it's just to get simple touches and kick it back out. They've gotten a couple offensive boards that they've been able to put back in, but it's been about their post game, and that's where their strength is. If you look at K-State, 6 of 7 from the field, Brian, 2 of 2 from behind that three-point line. It does come down to shot selection. That's where the struggles have been for this Wildcat team. Who's taking the shots and when are they taking the shots? They shot just 25% from the field against Iowa State. You score 49 points at Oklahoma, 45 points versus Iowa State. And that's what it really comes down to, is you've got to get good shots and make sure that the right people are taking them at the right time.
Well, so far that appears to be the case. You got Williams who's 2 for 2. Ranke has hit a couple of three-pointers, and both have been good, set, long, left, wide open shots. Brewer makes the free throw. Another problem for Tech has been the free throw line this year. Just a 55% shooting team behind the free throw line. And a turnover by K-State.
And a little bit of token pressure out front there by Texas Tech, and they'll surprise you. They'll want to come out, see if they can't just disrupt as you're looking to make those inbounds, and they get themselves a turnover. Those are the little plays, kind of those 50-50 possessions, and if they can get those back, it gives them another look here on the offensive end.
Brewer on the post. Passes out, it's stolen by Goff. Shot fake and blocked from behind by Bryant, but there will be contact with the body from Grayson Bryant, the sophomore from Fort Worth, Texas.
And that skip pass from Brewer out to Bright just wasn't there because she didn't have a good angle on it. But give credit to Kayla Goff. She's always active out front in that zone. She's got a long wingspan. She's going to tip a lot of balls, gets her hand on that one. Now she's back at the free throw line. This is where she can be effective. She was just 6 of 9 from the line versus Iowa State on Saturday, but she can get these opportunities because she's one of the few for K-State that's going to put her head down and get to the hole.
Goff already with 5 points for K-State. Looking to tie Ranke for team honors here with the second free throw, and she'll get it.
Now a little token pressure by K-State as well. See if they can't disrupt Tech themselves, force a couple turnovers here, make it difficult, let them run that shot clock down and have to get in a hurry offensively.
Try and keep the ball away for the post as much as they can. Brewer at the high post, out to Sanders. Dio Olabode. Now to Bright, open three. Brewer again, can't hit the follow. A third try, no good.
And those are big offensive boards right there, though, for Texas Tech, and they're able to just go right up off the jump over Kansas State, and that is Brewer with her size and long arms. She's going to get a lot of rebounds.
Goff, little heat check, had an open look, couldn't hit it. A rare miss for the Cats in the early going. Still 6 of 8 from the field is K-State. Quite a change from the offensive doldrums that we talked about it a little bit earlier. Head down through the lane, the ball knocked out in the hands of Olabode, now away from Sanders. Shot clock under 10. Olabode has it nearly stolen away, then out of bounds to K-State.
And that was a tough possession for Texas Tech, and K-State a better defensive possession where they were active. Big hands out wide, put a lot of pressure on ball handlers and passers, and that's what you have to do. You've got to disrupt this offense. You cannot allow them to just get set and go post to post, high, low, and get easy buckets. You've got to make it difficult. Get them out of their system. That's a key factor when you play the Lady Raiders.
Ranke drawing the defensive assignment now is Lindsay Wilby, and she presses Ranke into a turnover.
Went for the back door, but she wasn't there. You got to make good decisions with the ball, especially that early in the shot clock. You can't give possessions away.
Now Wilby can't handle the ball on the outside. It'll be turned over. Wilby, a freshman number 29 wing of the play, our top 100 recruit for the Red Raiders, or for the Lady Raiders, I should say.
And I think one of the things she brings is that penetration ability. She and Angel Hayden and Bright having to take on most of the point positions.
Nice back cut there by Ranky. That one's open.
And she beat Willoughby that time. She was out in deny, out on the wing, and was able to use the dribble, keep some space, and go back door. And that's a good play right there by Rachel Ranky.
Good feed down the lane. Hayden draws the foul. But a good pass from DeGreat defying the cutting freshman.
And that's what you also have to do against the zone. It was a little disjointed on possession, but find an open spot. You cannot stand in zone offense. I mean, it is basic, simple basketball, and that's when you can get movement and you can go through a zone, not around it. You're going to get opportunities to score. And even with Hayden's size, they list her, I believe, at what, like
5'6".
5'6". Yeah, she's able to cut right down that lane because she's open, and she didn't stop. She was moving without the basketball.
Number 23 point guard in the country, makes the second. Came out of Canyon High School, which was the same high school that produced Candy Whitaker, who was the head coach at Texas Tech for a couple of years before being let go January 1st. After a slow start, another back cut. Goff finds success, and Goff now at 8 points here in the first quarter.
And great recognition by Shaylin Martin. Kept that dribble alive, saw the denial clear out for Goff. She's able to go one-on-one and score.
Three-pointer hit from Olabode. There are not many three-point shooters on this team. Olabode is one of them. Struggling a bit this season at 27%, but hit 55% of her threes last year in Big 12 play.
Well, the hard part about the zone, you've got to pick your poison. Do you want to shut down that post game or give up some perimeter shots? Right now, K-State will give up that perimeter look. They have got to pack it in on the post.
Ranky double teamed and loses the ball right side of the lane.
And that's where you've got to be strong with it. And she cut through that lane, Brian, but she then picked that dribble up in a tough spot, put herself in traffic, and that's where bad things are going to happen.
DeGreat is going to try and drive to the basket. Wild shot won't go in, and the rebound out of bounds off K-State. Here comes Kaylee Page, even with 2 fouls, back in the lineup for the Wildcats in place of Ranky. K-State still hot from the field, 8 of 10. We see Mary Lakes in for the first time in place of Williams. Freshman center for the Wildcats. And an air ball three-pointer put up. Lakes trying to save it, just throws it back in wildly and lands back with Tech. DeGreat against Lakes, not able to get it. And following up, though, is Zuri Sanders.
And that's one of the things that Texas Tech, this coaching staff preaches, is you've got to get to the glass. They'll sell out, and they'll send 4, sometimes 5 to the offensive boards. They want to see if they can generate some extra opportunities, extended possessions and points. They're doing that right now on the offensive glass.
K-State beat Texas Tech down the court a couple of times. This last time was Olabode, so you get a look at Zuri Sanders and her rebounding prowess, and on the other end, a foul on Olabode.
7 offensive boards here in this first quarter by Texas Tech, and that is all just about pure heart and wanting to go after it. K-State's got to put a body on people, whether it's simply in the half court or in a transition situation. You got to find somebody and move them out.
23 points put up by K-State in the first quarter. They lead by 6. Second chance opportunities have given Texas Tech 8 more shots than K-State. An air ball three-pointer put up by Wilby, who statistically is the best three-point shooter.
Yeah, I would say she's one of the ones that does have that three-point range. When you think about Brielle Blair, Grayson Bright, Willoughby, they're the ones that do shoot the most threes for this Texas Tech team. You've got to get out and contest, but you also want to pack it in. It makes you a little pick your poison scenario for K-State.
Goff able to set her feet just off target. Offensive rebound, Jones had it, and we'll get a foul on K-State.
Now, I believe it should be, I believe that the call was going to go against DeGreat because she was on the back of Kaylee Jones, and you're going to see this shot go up here off that replay. There's 2 number 1s on the floor, Kaylee Page for K-State and Erin DeGreat for Texas Tech, and the call does go against DeGreat there. So K-State's going to get that possession back, 22.6. The game clock is off, shot clock off, 22.6 left on the game clock.
DeGreat's first, 4th team foul. That would have been a big call on Page.
Yeah.
Would have been her 3rd. She was standing out near midcourt, so that would have been a tough call. Officials get it right. Final few seconds. They had Goff posted up, trying to drive to the baseline. Haley Brudigam, who is new to this team in the sense of being on the court. She's been a student manager. But with all the troubles for Texas Tech with transfers and players sitting out and some injuries, for say Caldwell out.
Yep.
Brudigam has been forced into play here, now her 4th conference game. She's getting called for the foul here.
Yeah, a little bit of a mismatch there for Brudigam in that corner because Kayla Goff was looking to go hard baseline, and she gets called for that hand check, but they dodge a bullet with her at the free throw line, and she just misses the first. She'll have a second here as we close out this first quarter. But it's all about putting quarters together, and what we haven't seen K-State do a lot of the last few games is multiple quarters where they are good on both ends of the floor. You can get stops, but you got to be able to score, or vice versa. Texas Tech has been in the same boat in many of their games as well.
A good start, no doubt, for K-State to begin. Elisa Wiggins now in for the Wildcats in the first quarter. Final few seconds. Lady Raiders look for a basket. Good run up the other end, and the floater goes for Wilby. So a good end to the quarter for the Lady Raiders, and despite K-State's hot shooting, 8 of 11. 7 offensive rebounds lead to 9 more field goal attempts for the Lady Raiders. And they're down only 5 on the road in Manhattan.
Improving each day not only applies to our football program, but also to your health. Small daily improvements such as eating more fruits and vegetables, living tobacco-free, and taking a short walk can all make a great impact on your overall wellness. Please join me, the Kansas Health Foundation, and Stormont Vale Health in our PowerCat Health Partnership, encouraging all Kansans to live a healthier life.
It's the Bud Night. It's the Bud Night. We're saved. Yes.
Time to do what must be done. I did it.
Here's to the friends you can always count on.
America, the home of fun-seeking adventurists. And they all like draw games. But wait till they get a load of Lotto America. With tickets just $1, drawings twice a week, and jackpots starting at $2 million. It's Lotto America, sweet land of lottery.
Today, opioid overdose kills more Americans than car crashes, and Kansas is not immune. Deaths from opioid overdoses among young people have risen dramatically in our state. I urge you to make this crisis a priority among your families and your friends. Healing starts with understanding the problem, recognizing the warning signs, and having the courage to act. Our young people need our help. Talk. It truly matters.
After the first quarter, K-State with an incredible shooting percentage thanks to 8 of 11 shooting, but Texas Tech, thanks to a great offensive rebound advantage, 7-0 against K-State, were able to get 9 more field goal attempts and hang tough with K-State down just 5. For more on what the Wildcats need to be better at, we go to the third member of our crew, and Caitlin Sabbert.
Yeah, hey, Brian, head coach Mitty told his team they absolutely have to rebound. He said they have to be committed because they're not pressing hard enough right now, and they also have to get Texas Tech moving on defense. Mitty did emphasize to his team that Texas Tech is committed to going to the glass, so they have to make that stop at the post. Brian.
All right, thank you. We saw early on K-State, listen, in shoot around, they talked about it today. They needed to be better. They knew the game plan coming in against the Lady Raiders. You said it's not a hidden secret. This is a team that wants to get it inside. K-State did not do a good job defending it.
Well, Texas Tech has made a concerted effort over the last couple weeks, especially in Big 12 play, to get those post touches. They've been better at their shot selection by their guards and forwards to get the ball in the post. And so that's what they've done so far against K-State. And they have turned up the heat themselves defensively. They've been beat a couple times on the back door. They made the adjustment there coming out of the timeout. You get a turnover, and now they're looking to take advantage. This is where they want to capitalize.
Weak side rotation for K-State. Knocks the ball away from DeGray. Did it go off of DeGray? Apparently it did as it came down. So the Wildcats will get the ball right back.
And that was one of the few possessions we've seen the weak side help. And a good decision by Martin to come over and just to be there disrupts that pass coming in. And that's a key factor. You've got to be ready to be on the help side, on the weak side against these posts.
I think if I'm Texas Tech, I might be a little bit upset with that call.
Yeah, it didn't look like it went off her.
Good find for Martin to get to Williams. Shot was blocked, but a foul committed by Brewer. And to get to the free throw line is Williams.
Late rotation for Texas Tech as Peyton Williams just makes that dive. She was kind of out at the wing, and Shaylin Martin goes baseline. She needs some help. Somebody's got to come to the basket. She draws all the attention. Double, triple team comes to the ball handler. Somebody's going to be open.
For K-State, that's exactly what you want. Williams to draw a double, or to be open after Martin draws a double team. Martin not much of an offensive threat. Williams makes both. She is dynamite from the free throw line at 83%. Now K-State again with some token pressure, just trying to slow down Texas Tech. K-State's led by as many as 10. Brielle Blair, who did not play the first quarter. And a fight for the basketball and a foul on the Lady Raiders.
And they got that three in the corner off the reverse, and that's where the ball goes to the high post, and they're looking for the skip, whether it's going to be down to the opposite block, or they were looking for Brielle Blair in that corner. She got a good look at a three. She's got the ability to knock that down, and then made the foul on the hustle play coming forward. Possessions that Tech can't get back.
Another back cut by K-State. Goff in double figures for the 15th straight game.
You've got to read the defense, and that's exactly what Shaylin Martin, Kayla Goff did. You got to be patient, see what they give you.
A great power move again. The left-hander, 6 off the bench.
And they've done a great job of allowing her to dig in on that side, Brian, where she could go to that strong hand one-on-one.
Ranky with a rare drive to the basket and finish, and she's in double figures.
And now you see another scorer pop up on that number for K-State, and that's what they have been missing over the last couple weeks, is somebody else to help them offensively.
Blair tied up in the corner. Looked like the ball had headed out of bounds, but no rule of tie up. The arrow gives the possession to the Lady Raiders. Bullet dodged there by Texas Tech. Goodrich took one to the throat, trying to fend off the 6'5" Brewer. And it traveled as Wilby moved to pivot foot. Another turnover by the Lady Raiders. That's their 7th, and K-State gets the ball. Neither team's been sharp in that regard. 13 combined turnovers. K-State, one of the lowest turnover teams in the Big 12. Goff left wide open. Three-pointer is not there, and Texas Tech another rebound.
And it's been one and done on the offensive glass for K-State. Not a lot of second chance opportunities. Give credit to the Lady Raiders. They've gone to the boards and they sell out to go get themselves some defensive boards to go the other way.
Wilby misses the three. K-State in transition. Martin has it knocked away. DeGrate was the late trailer on the play, but just reached out and knocked it out of the hands of Martin.
50-50 hustle plays right there for Texas Tech, and they've been able to get a few of them to go their way.
Blair driving hard to the basket, again with the left hand.
Two post players, both lefties, and Brewer and DeGrate, and every time they've had touches, they've been able to score.
K-State unable to separate. Williams, three-pointer, not getting it. Goff, the offensive rebound. The first for the Cats from Goff. Now Ranky's three off the mitts. Goff, a near another rebound. DeGrate hustling to the ground, able to get it to a teammate.
And that's one of the things Texas Tech has been asking out of Aaron DeGrate all season, is more effort to be able to really dig in and not only just be an offensive player, but to be a defender and someone who wants to make plays.
DeGrate looked a little bit winded as she's trying to get the pass there from Brewer. Cats quickly up the other end. Goodrich a line up three, no. Lady Raiders back the other way.
I think this is a big possession right here for Texas Tech. They would like to be, they need to score here. Part of it is to stop the bleeding. It's been a little phonetic going up and down with some miscues. They need to find one of those easy shots that they do for Brewer in that short corner against the zone. And that's where K-State doesn't cover, into the corner, and they've been able to attack. That's the first one they've hit from the corner here tonight.
And right like that, right back within 5. Martin with a head fake, drives high off the window. No, it comes to Goff. Out to Ranky. Buries a three.
Possession stayed alive because Peyton Williams tipped that ball backwards, gets them a second chance opportunity, and Rachel Ranky knocks it down.
Ranky with a game-high 13 to lead the way for the Cats.
Schultz one. High and deep to left. Goodbye.
Shot to right. K-State's going to try and score two. Another play at the play, but this time Brevin slides past the tag. And Brad Hill is the all-time winningest coach in K-State history.
Men, women, dilly-dilly! Sure, we may be outnumbered. 20 to 1. They may have more men, more horses. They have arrows with fire, which probably don't hurt more than the regular ones. Look, I'm gonna level with you guys. We're out of Bud Light. And they have some! So dilly-dilly!
Here's to the friends you can always count on.
With Cox high-speed internet, you get access to super-fast in-home Wi-Fi to power all your devices and do the things you love online. And now, when you're traveling, you have free access to the nation's largest Wi-Fi network with over 500,000 hotspots, so you can stay connected in places such as New York City, Los Angeles, Washington, D.C., Phoenix, and many more. Learn how with the Cox Discover More video series at cox.com/learn.
K-State by 8 points. They've led by as many as 10, but haven't been able to shake the Lady Raiders to this point. The big story early, though, has been Rachel Ranky, who has hit a couple of three-pointers for the Wildcats. 3 of 4 behind the arc, 5 of 6 from the field for the freshman who came in having shot just 23% from the field and from behind the arc the last 6 games during this struggle. Suddenly has found her shot again, 13 points.
Well, it's all about rhythm and it's all about confidence, and that's where Rachel Ranky has found it here tonight. 5 of 6 from the field. She's knocked down 3 of 4 from behind the three-point line. I think the other factor, Brian, when you talk about a kid like Rachel Ranky, is her making the jump to what Coach Mitty and his staff want her to do defensively. And that is one of the things that we saw against the Iowa State loss, was some mental breakdowns defensively. So you've got to be able to put it together on both ends of the floor. You can't play at this level and just play one end. You got to be able to do both. And I think she's made a much more concerted effort to be better, more active tonight defensively, and that has helped to put you in a good mindset to be able to score.
K-State's been in their matchup 2-3 zone the entirety of the game. Bright will drive here, shoot over Mary Lakes. And the rebound off the fingertips of Ranky. Another offensive board for the Lady Raiders.
They're going to send 4 to 5 to the offensive glass, including the guards. And you see now that foul on Mary Lake is going to come off an offensive board by Hayden. She's able to go get that offense rebound, took it back out, and then went right back at the D. She's going to go to the free throw line. Heads-up play right there by the freshman guard to be able to get herself in a place where she could draw the contact and get to the line.
Mary Lakes kind of cleaned her clock there, coming over to try and block the shot. 6-5 into 5-6, and now the free throw by Hayden is good. Hayden hadn't played much early in the season, but since Coach Greg Miller took over, she has really taken over, playing quite a bit. This 6-game stretch, she has played nearly 30 minutes a game.
Well, the biggest factor there is that you've got almost a tag team of the point guard position with Grayson Bright and Angela Hayden because of the injury to Rasay Caldwell, as well as a transfer of Mackenzie Calvert leaving the team after about the 3rd Big 12 game. So those two logging more minutes, having to handle the basketball, and really being able to put this team in a better spot where they can score inside.
Page off the inbound, able to catch and shoot. That's not to mention, of course, Rasay Caldwell. Without her leading scorer, it's been a different look for Texas Tech, no doubt. It was already a struggle for the Lady Raiders, but take out 10 to 12 points a game and the sharp shooting ability of Caldwell behind the arc, and changes the complexion of this team in a hurry.
Yeah, it opens things. It doesn't allow you to open things up as much as they used to, where they could get those touches for players like DeGreat and Jade Terry inside. And right now, this Texas Tech team just being very active defensively. They force some bad turnovers by K-State.
And the Wildcats defensively allow Bright to drive right to the basket, get her first basket. Just when you think K-State's about to get the lead to double figures and pull away, they can't quite get enough offense put together to answer. Bright this time uses the basket to her advantage, misses the shot, but an easy rebound for the Lady Raiders. And then a tap out goes to their advantage as well.
Yet another possession right here for Texas Tech. They had an opportunity to score, couldn't get it. And now you get another rebound, and you're going to have somebody at the free throw line. This Texas Tech team just outworking K-State right now. They are going to go after every single possession. You're going to see the three come up short, but there's Wilby on the opposite block as she just gets inside both Page and Lakes and goes right back up to draw a lot of contact, and now she's got a chance at 2 free throws.
Foul on Lakes is her second, so 2 quick fouls for Lake, and the early going. Wilby misses the first free throw. K-State a little bit shorthanded, not just on the season, having already lost Carvalho Middlebrook, but no Ashley Ray tonight, another big body, perhaps to compete against all these big bodies for Texas Tech. Ray out with illness. It's that time of year, and it's been going around at a rampant number in amongst the Great Plains of the Big 12 states.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes you just need more bodies to be able to throw at. The size and strength of this Texas Tech team, that is the one thing that they have probably over many others in this league, is their ability just to kind of triage post players who all are about the same size. Brewers gives a little bit different look, but she's just got a great ability to catch and score. It's a lineup that causes trouble when you don't have a lot of size to combat it.
Page has her shot blocked by Bright, who's been a factor all of a sudden in the last few possessions. The Lady Raiders have played with their hair on fire. Wide open to Great underneath. She'll lay it in. And a timeout for K-State. Another basket wide open in the paint for DeGreat and the Lady Raiders.
They use that cross-court pass, and they're going to be able to go inside, and with a no-look by Bright, she made that play happen. She had the block on the other end, keeps the dribble alive, waits for her teammates to fill, and finds Aaron DeGreat. And right now the question is, how do you match the intensity of Texas Tech? If I'm Jeff Mittie, that is exactly the question that he's asking of his team. Ladies, you're getting outplayed right now. They're coming at you. They're competing on the glass. They are selling out. They're going to come and they're going to compete. How do you match it? We said it at the start. Where is the sense of urgency for this group? Where's their heads? You got a 4-point lead right now, but you're being outplayed here over the last 3 to 4 minutes.
Now the Cats are hitting shots. That's the difference, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
if you want to go back to what was the difference between Saturday and the game before against Oklahoma, and really this last half a dozen game stretch,
yep.
K-State's hitting shots. They're playing better offensively than they have in some time. It's the defensive side of the ball that K-State has not been the same right now.
And that's the hardest part, is you've got to be able to put 4 quarters together, and it's got to be on both ends.
Williams catches almost what turns into an alley-oop. Reverses it in, 8 points for Williams.
Might be listed as a pass in the stat sheet. Could be another assist for Goff.
There you go. Trying to get Brewer at the high post. K-State collapsing. Now Brewer will shoot. Instead, dumps it down to DeGreat. Rolls it in.
High-low
10 for DeGreat.
And it's right there at that top of the key when you get to that free throw line. If they can catch there, every time they've been able to go high-low, they've scored. And those are easy looks, but K-State's got to make those adjustments.
Frankie rushed the shot a bit. Brewer, another rebound. A dominant effort on the glass by the Lady Raiders. 20-12 with 11 offensive rebounds. No-look pass to DeGreat. Brewer fills, and she is fouled on the follow. Another offensive rebound.
That's 12 offensive rebounds for Texas Tech, and we still got 2:18 left here in this second quarter. It went cross-court pass into DeGrate. She couldn't finish, but there's Brewer's come in off the weak side board. You've got to put a body on him. Shaylin Martin, Goodrich, Goth all watched it happen, didn't put a body on Brewer, and it puts her at the line. Dodge a bullet there, she misses the first.
Again, if Texas Tech could be a little better at the free throw line,
Yeah.
they would, with their size,
Yep.
you would find them to be a problem for a lot of teams, but they just haven't been able to capitalize when they've been at the stripe. 4 of 9 here tonight. One more for Brewer, as you see her line already nearing a double-double in the first half. She'll miss both. K-State maintains a slim lead. Martin quickly up, finds Kaylee Jones for a layup.
When the ball goes to the middle of the floor against pressure, good things will happen. And Martin was able to beat Hayden and keep that dribble alive. Jones made herself available and able to finish.
Trap on Hayden. DeGrate gets it back, fighting through the paint. Brewer, right elbow jumper short. Another rebound to the Lady Raiders. And DeGrate gonna get called for a travel before the shot.
Dodge a bullet there, but again, another possession with multiple offensive boards by Texas Tech, and they're getting the 50-50 loose possessions, and that's how you keep it alive, and they're giving themselves a chance to stay in this thing simply by great effort.
Tip of the cap to Texas Tech. It's been a rough year all season for Texas Tech. Another back cut, Ranky lays it in.
4 times we've seen K-State able to convert easy layups. And it's been Goth and Ranky and Shaylin Martin with a couple great entry passes, but that's how you read the defense and make yourself available.
Brewer taking it to the rack, scores! Brewer with 13.
And this young lady has had up and down games all season long, but you can see she's taken advantage of the chance to be in the starting lineup here tonight and to make something happen against K-State.
K-State by 6, thanks to great shooting, but Texas Tech with rebounding and effort have been able to hang around in this contest. Goff has to go right through her hands. Ranky picks up the loose ball, shot clock at 5. Martin at the buzzer, lets it fly, hits the rim. Jones, an offensive rebound, tied up in the paint. K-State will keep the ball.
And they luck out there. They kind of dodge one because it was a loose ball, and it looked as though there were 2 Texas Tech players that had a hand on it. Couldn't corral the possession, and now it's going to stay with Kansas State here. 3.3 second differential, shot clock and game clock.
Almost run it down if you wanted to.
And I think that's what Jeff Mitty's going to talk to you about. He's going to allow them here to use this possession. If they can't get it to go, you got a chance at an offensive board.
Goff. The ability to get to the basket, or will she try and find Williams? Jones trying to find Goff, posting up, and she is undercut on the block.
She goes down hard there, but that's the look that they wanted. They wanted Goff to be able to post up Angel Hayden. She's got a size advantage. Hayden in at just 5'6". And they get tangled up as she went for that pass. The lob is there. You got to try to go over the defense, especially if they're working to get around on that half front, full front. Either way, K-State keeps it. They got 9.2 left.
Goff again, double teamed. Ranky fadeaway, can't hit. Another rebound for the Lady Raiders, and why not? In a first half that's tightly contested, the Wildcats lead 41-35. But the Lady Raiders hang around thanks to a 10 rebound advantage overall, 24-14. The Wildcats shoot 52% from the field. We now go to Caitlin Sabbert, who's with Jeff Mitty.
Thanks, Brian. Coach, you mentioned to your team in the huddle about staying committed and rebounding the ball. How do you think the first half went?
No, we're not very good. I mean, they're beating us in there a lot. I mean, in terms of the rebounding, we haven't been very good. We got to get better position. They've got us outsized. They're a really good rebounding team. We're just going to have to keep fighting.
Thanks, Coach. Brian.
All right, thank you. K-State outscores Texas Tech by 1 in the second quarter. They lead by a half a dozen at the half. Brewer and company keeping it close against the Cats.
Our community is more than a group of people. It's a place where the golden rule becomes the purple rule. It's recognizing the value of every individual and affirming the importance of diversity. It's freedom to have a different perspective. It's honesty underscored with understanding. It's becoming a piece of the greater good. We are many, we are one. Most of all, we are family. What defines the K-State community? Compassion, honesty, you.
Wildcat fans, celebrate 50 seasons of K-State women's basketball when your Cats take on KU at 3 p.m. Saturday, February 24th at Bramlage Coliseum. Throwback jersey ticket packages are available for $20 that include a replica throwback women's basketball jersey and chairback ticket. Fans can purchase general admission tickets for $5 in advance by visiting kstatesports.com or by calling 1-800-221-CATS today.
In today's world, connections are everything, which makes your Wi-Fi even more important. With Cox high-speed internet, you can get the latest equipment and access to super fast in-home Wi-Fi. You also get the security you need to protect your privacy. And when you travel, we're right there with you, giving you access to more than 500,000 Wi-Fi hotspots across the country. At home or away, Cox has you covered. Learn more with the Cox Discover More video series at cox.com/learn.
What happens when you register your Cox account and get a user ID and password? You open up a world of possibilities for all your Cox services, like access to live TV and on-demand shows with the Contour app, and TV network apps to watch on the go. Cox Security Suite Plus, powered by McAfee, and phone tools to keep you connected when you leave home. Discover what you can do. Check out the Cox Discover More video series at cox.com/learn.
K-State basketball is brought to you by the Kansas Lottery, proud sponsor of K-State basketball. Bud Light, proud friend of K-State basketball, famous among friends. And by Pepsi, proud beverage sponsor of the Wildcats for more than 40 years.
At half, Kansas State by a half a dozen over Texas Tech. Wildcats shooting it well, but the Lady Raiders rebounding very well, have been able to stay in this game with second chance points. K-State's, of course, been led by the tandem of Kayla Goff and Peyton Williams all season. We had a chance to catch up with one of those two, Peyton Williams, and ask about her sophomore campaign. Page and double team, out of her right to Martin, now to Williams. Williams a ball fake, driving into the lane. Shot up, contested, and she makes it.
She goes one-on-one that time against Lott. Really had to kind of allow the play to develop, and that was a key factor. And Peyton Williams, big bucket there to help K-State put a little bit of distance with their rival.
It's just a matter of me constantly looking for my shot, which is something I didn't really have to do last year, like you said. And Coach Carr always says that to me, and he's like, it's a different kind of tired sometimes, because you're like, man, sometimes I can just sit back. Last year I was like, I can just sit back and let Kin play or Lou in the battle in the post, and I can just stand and watch. But this year it is more of, okay, how can I score? How can I move so that someone else can score, because the attention's on me sometimes. So yeah, it's just, from that regard, it's just a matter of being more aggressive in every single way. Well, I blocked a little bit more shots than I did last year, so I can attribute that to volleyball. But it's from the speed perspective, and like watching the ball, finding the ball has helped me a lot, because I mean that applies to both sports, always knowing where the ball is at. Lateral movement has improved a little bit. It still needs a lot of work, but it helps a little defensively, because blocking, you move laterally along the net, and then defensively, of course I don't take a lot of charges, but I probably could more than I did last year. But I get in better position to like block balls than I would have probably been last year.
Martin over to the right side, being bodied up by Richardson. Bounce speed to the block to Williams. Double team, turns, shoots, scores! What a shot from Peyton Williams. Timeout KU with 20 seconds left.
It was a lot of fun. That game, I mean, nerves were ridiculous for everyone I know. It was crazy because we had so many like fans there, and you know, I played with Kylie Kapadich, and it was fun. Little rivalry there, and oh my goodness, it was so much fun to win, pull out that win. Rachel Ranke with that clutch three-pointer. Oh my gosh, but yeah, it was so much fun. Rivalries like that you just can't really compare to. So he came in this morning and he said, he reminded us of 2 years ago, they were in the same position, 4-7 in conference. And he said, so nothing's ever over. Of course, nothing comes easy, but we still have a shot. Our goals are the same from June. We came in June and we have the same goals to make the tournament. And he's like, that's still a realistic goal. And we're gonna have to fight like crazy to get it, but it's still in the cards for us.
Well, K-State certainly does have a favorable schedule the rest of the way. It starts with Texas Tech, and right now the Cats by 6. We'll look at the numbers for the first half when we return.
The heart-pounding roar, a sea of purple, wielding twists and turns, a sincere smile and simple phrase. Legacies that span generations, blurring the line between fans and family. Believing we bleed a different color. Foundations defined by a single stone. That special place you love full well. What makes traditions unforgettable? Loyalty. Purple. You.
Winning takes commitment. Losses bring tears. Victories give hope. But research saves lives. The fight starts here.
Schultz one, high and deep to left, goodbye.
Shot to right. K-State's going to try and score 2. Another play at the play, but this time Brevin slides past the tag. And Brad Hill is the all-time winningest coach in K-State history.
Bases loaded, 1 out, bottom of the 9th. Cats and Sooners tied at 5, and the Cats trying to win a Big 12 title for the first time ever. Outside, it gets away to the plate. Kansas State has its title.
Chips it in the middle, a header into the goal, and a score for K-State. Back at halftime here in Bramwood's Coliseum, K-State's had a hot shooting hand, but Texas Tech, thanks to their post play and offensive rebounding, has been able to stay in the contest. Brian Smoller along with Missy Heidrich back here courtside at Bramwood. And again, glad you could join us. Missy, it almost went right just like the way we thought it would at the outset, which is the great post play of Texas Tech was going to give them a chance if K-State didn't play to the scout. To Texas Tech's credit, they've hung around with just sheer fight.
And absolutely, and that's what they had to do. And they found some easy buckets early inside, which was using that high-low against the zone. They went cross-court, little ball reversal, got them some easy buckets, but then they have sold out on the offensive glass, whether that's to give themselves easy second chance opportunities and putbacks or to extend that possession. And what that does then is it forces the K-State defense to have to scramble. You got to get back in position, and then sometimes you're out of position, or you just make them have to work for another 30 seconds. And that could get exhausting. And I think what we saw is no matter what K-State was able to do offensively, which was such a better half than we saw them have probably the last 2 games in total, but the struggle is to be able to board the ball, and you've got to limit those opportunities, and you've been dominated on the glass. It's happened so many times this season, but they've made it up by getting better shots, better shot selection, 3 of 11 from behind the three-point line, and I really like that 8 of 10 as well from the free throw line. You got to take advantage when you get it, and that's going to be a big factor here down the stretch.
Well, if Texas Tech could have hit a couple of more free throws, this game might be tied. It might be a little bit closer, but so far a pretty good one. We'll see what the third quarter has in store for us coming up in a bit. First, when we return, highlights for the first half.
I know a spot that I love full well.
'Tis not in forest, nor yet in dell. Ever it holds me with magic spell.
I think of thee, alma mater.
We'll carry thy banner high. Long, long, may thy colors fly.
Loyal to thee, thy children will swell the cry. Hail, 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 alma mater.
Wildcat fans, blackout Bramlage as K-State men's basketball takes on Iowa State Saturday, February 17th. Tickets start at less than $20 with a Wildcat 4-pack. And make sure to purchase your official K-State Proud Black shirt. Reserve your seats today by visiting kstatesports.com or calling 1-800-221-CATS. Blackout Bramlage as the Wildcats host the Cyclones. Go Cats!
We are a family that does not tolerate discrimination of any kind.
A family that believes diversity, inclusion, and sportsmanship are expectations.
A family that is supportive and seeks to promote a positive environment.
A family that treats all people with respect and dignity.
No matter their color, creed, gender, ethnicity, or sexual orientation.
We are
an empowered family
who empowers family.
Welcome to K-State. This is who we are.
With Cox high-speed internet, you get access to super fast in-home Wi-Fi to power all your devices and do the things you love online. And now, when you're traveling, you have free access to the nation's largest Wi-Fi network with over 500,000 hotspots, so you can stay connected in places such as New York City, Los Angeles, Washington, D.C., Phoenix, and many more. Learn how with the Cox Discover More video series at cox.com/learn.
Wildcats by 6 at the half in what has been an entertaining game to this point. Wildcats hitting offensively very well, hitting some shots for the first time in a couple of games. Texas Tech using brute force and energy to stay in this game. Missy Heidrich, your thoughts as we take a look at some of the highlights.
Well, K-State started 3 of 11 in that first half from behind the three-point line, all from Rachel Ranke, a kid who has struggled the last few games and gets her feet set to knock him down. They used the backdoor against a pressure defense of Texas Tech, as well as good execution on their out-of-bounds underneath. And you got to have a nose for the ball, as we saw Texas Tech do numerous times with 14 offensive rebounds in that first half. They've been after it. They sell out 4 to 5 players on every single possession just to try to keep it alive. In order for them to be successful, they know they've got to get those extra possessions, and they're going to put the pressure on Kansas State. But they also went inside to their post players. We saw Brittany Brewer and DeGrate have big first half, simply by just being aggressive. And when you get ball reversal against the zone, you're going to find the 3. But I really like what Brewer bought. She was 6 of 10, 13 points, 8 rebounds. She's just 2 away from a double-double to going into this second half.
Brewer has been great, 6'5" sophomore who has had games where she has broken out for the Lady Raiders already this year. Big 12 freshman team honoree a year ago, averaging just 9 a game, but again, coming off 4 points against Baylor the game before, 14 against Oklahoma State. She's been what Texas Tech needed.
Well, and sometimes it's just about the matchup, and you got to look at where you are, and they know that tonight their advantage against K-State is in the post. And how do you do that? Well, you got to be able to sell out, go get yourself some offensive rebounds, but then just be very sound in how you execute your half-court offense. Against the Kansas State zone, you know that 2-3 is coming. No need to expect much else. Then you know that high-low look, penetration, one dribble and go, that's going to be there. They've taken advantage of it. They're going to get more here in the second half.
Let's take a look at the Big 12 scoreboard from the last couple of days. In fact, 2 games on Monday night. You were down in Waco for Oklahoma and Baylor. What a great game that was. Baylor ends up winning by 9, but that was a 4-point game with less than a minute to go.
Well, and it was tied. It was 60-all, and it was one of those where you knew Oklahoma needed a couple extra possessions, which they got, and they just couldn't score. But I really do give credit on both sides. You got to give credit to Oklahoma for their game plan of how they wanted to attack and defend Baylor. And then when they needed shots, Baylor got them from their key players. Christy Wallace, Kalani Brown, and Lauren Cox with a big night, and she was money from out of the perimeter.
Big win for Texas on the road as we take a look at the Big 12 standings. The Longhorns' faint Big 12 championship hopes are still out there as they have a tough stretch coming up, but playing well, it seems. Oklahoma State, TCU hanging around. TCU and Oklahoma State playing as we speak. We just saw the score there. Cowgirls trying to get an emphatic win with TCU still having Baylor on the horizon. Texas again as well. It's a tough finish for TCU to see if they can make the tournament. And then there's K-State trying to avoid the 8-9 game when it comes to the Big 12 championship in Oklahoma City here in a few weeks. That's the death knell game, right? You don't want to stick into that 8-9 slot and have Baylor waiting for you in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, that's a tough place to sit. I think if you're Kansas State, you got to be saying we need to get ourselves into that 6th spot. You know, I mean, if you're going to sit at 7, they know that there are games that are winnable left on this schedule, but you would love to get into that upper 6 Gives you an extra day of rest, gives you the bye. You play into the bracket in a game that you really do like. But if you got to be somewhere, I'd rather be in that 7-10 because that would be a better matchup, I think, in the first and second game opportunity for K-State.
Yeah, that's taking nothing away from Texas. It's just a matchup issue for K-State going against Baylor. All right, second half begins, third quarter. Texas Tech with the ball first. K-State a little trapped to begin, but same 5 it looks like for both teams for the most part. Although, as I say that, Aaron DeGreat has started here in the second half. Had a great first half. A turnover by Hayden. We'll give the Cats the ball.
Interesting decisions for Texas Tech because Jada Terry played just 2 minutes in that first half, Brian, and we were not getting any notification whether she's suffering from injury or sickness or if this is a coach's decision. But that's a player that's been in, an all-conference selection the last couple of years who's been very solid in the post. But this Texas Tech team hanging on without one of their better players.
Now K-State with another steal on the defensive end. So better awareness defensively for the Wildcats here to start the third quarter.
And you got to find that energy, and you've got to be able to match it. And what K-State didn't really do early, that was important. And then you get back-to-back turnovers and back-to-back buckets, and that changes the scope of things really fast.
Shippy Gray Miller doesn't like it, calls a timeout. Kayla Goff. 4 quick points to begin the third quarter. Wildcat fans, celebrate 50 seasons of K-State women's basketball when your Cats take on KU at 3 p.m. Saturday, February 24th at Bramlage Coliseum. Throwback jersey ticket packages are available for $20 that include a replica throwback women's basketball jersey and chairback ticket. Fans can purchase general admission tickets for $5 in advance by visiting kstatesports.com or by calling 1-800-221-CATS today.
The heart-pounding roar, a sea of purple, wielding twists and turns, a sincere smile and simple phrase. Legacies that span generations, blurring the line between fans and family. Believing we bleed a different color, foundations defined by a single stone. That special place you love full well. What makes traditions unforgettable? Loyalty. Purple. You.
Today, opioid overdose kills more Americans than car crashes, and Kansas is not immune. Deaths from opioid overdoses among young people have risen dramatically in our state. I urge you to make this crisis a priority among your families and your friends. Healing starts with understanding the problem, recognizing the warning signs, and having the courage to act. Our young people need our help. Talk. It truly matters.
Schultz one, high and deep to left, goodbye.
Shot to right, K-State's going to try and score 2. Another play at the play, but this time Brevin slides past the tag. And Brad Hill is the all-time winningest coach in K-State history. Peyton Williams, Kaylee Page, and the Wildcats so far with a 4-0 blitz to start here in the second half. It's been not those two, but Kayla Goff, who's been the recipient on the offensive end after 2 good defensive plays by Page and Williams that have resulted in some turnovers.
Well, it seems to me the discussion at halftime was, ladies, we've got to really dig in defensively. We've got to be better. And much of that comes from being active against the zone. You put a little pressure on these Texas Tech guards up front, and that'll make a big difference, and you get 2 back-to-back turnovers. Neither team turned it over much in that first half. You had 9 for Texas Tech, 8 for K-State, but the 2 right out of the gate by the Lady Raiders and 4 points the other direction. Those are big swings, momentum swings that the Cats really needed.
Goff gets another hand on the ball. K-State's come out with a renewed passion here on the defensive end to start the third. And now Terry forced to do a turnover on walking. That's 3 straight turnovers to begin the third quarter.
Yeah, 3 possessions for Texas Tech where they haven't gotten a shot here to start this third quarter, and those are the ones that you want back. And so now K-State's got to capitalize. We can see this sort of renewed sense of urgency and a lot of energy from K-State right out of the gate, and you know that they were challenged, and they're taking it.
Martin with an aggressive take, trying to get Brewer to commit. Brewer trying to find the great, and Williams intercepts. 4 straight turnovers to begin the third quarter.
And that's the high-low look. It was successful in the first half, and it was there. DeGray was open. She was just a second late on the pass, and great hands inside by K-State for that 4th turnover here to start this quarter.
Goff, who's had the hot hand early. Baseline jumper, just long, and the rebound tapped out to the Lady Raiders.
And they dodge a bullet back-to-back possessions, even off the turnovers where K-State hasn't been able to score. Now they've got to get back into their half-court offense against the zone.
And now another turnover, 5 straight to begin the third quarter. Goff fouled as she goes up for a shot. Bright will get her second, and Goff to the line.
And this is what has plagued Texas Tech, is where they have had streaks of where they have gone cold offensively and had bad turnovers and mental mistakes. Keep in mind, on average, this team is at 20-plus turnovers each game. So if you can create some offense with your defense, as K-State has, it's going to help you separate, and they've been able to do that a little bit here to start this third.
Goff already has 15 points, but she'll miss the first free throw. As you see a trio of subs coming in for Texas Tech. Burtigam has come back in at the point guard spot, the former manager. And you got Wilby along with Olabode back in off the bench.
And keep in mind, Olabode's the only one to knock down a 3 for Texas Tech. They were just 1 of 8 in that first half. Haven't gotten a 3 off yet, but she's got range. You've got shooters in the ballgame here.
It's on cue, 3-pointer goes up, it'll miss. That's the first time without a turnover for Texas Tech on the offensive end. Reinke, let's go with 3-point shot. And the board out of bounds to K-State.
Shot selection's going to be important here, Brian. Even as you extend this lead a little bit against Texas Tech, the message there from Jeff Mittie is we need good shots. Let's be patient. See what we can find within the framework of our offense here, ladies. Make the next pass and make it easy on yourself.
You could hear in the background him saying move the ball, yelling at Reinke to pass. Start moving it quick. Williams facing up against Brewer and buries a jumper, and she's in double figures.
And the addition to Peyton Williams' game is that pull-up jumper and shooting it with more confidence. You got to be able to take one dribble and go, and she could do that here against these Texas Tech posts.
Olabode gets loose for a corner 3, and the rebound to Goff. Texas Tech, 5 straight turnovers, and now turnover by K-State, but 5 straight turnovers and then 2 missed threes. That's not the look for Texas Tech that they would want.
No, when they came out with such a better energy level to start this game and really sold out and got themselves some looks on the offensive glass. The hard part is when you have the passing turnovers against the pressure D, you don't have the ability to even get any kind of offensive boards. You can't keep the possession alive. So their game plan has worked against them because they can't get themselves any looks.
Burtigam, a no-look pass to Willoughby. It's intercepted underneath with a quick hitter to Reinke.
Yeah, I think Willoughby passed up an open jumper right there, one that the coaches are saying you've got to shoot that ball because that's a good shot within their offense.
Williams has 12 points, and the Wildcats have come out with their hair on fire here in the third.
It was Texas Tech in the second quarter, and now it's K-State here in the third. Good defense, creating easy shots on the other end.
Another near steal. And off the leg of Martin. Olabode. Red Raiders seem a little bit out of sorts. Olabode's wild shot comes back to her, and then she'll score and get fouled. And finally, the lid off the basket and some offensive success for the Lady Raiders.
Yeah, that stops the bleeding. They really didn't have anything going on in the half court. And Olabode gets loose on the baseline. Ball kind of goes around. She's able to pick it up, score, and finish. A chance at the 3-point play. This is what they desperately needed with so many trips and came up empty each time to start this third quarter.
Wildcats had opened the quarter on an 8-0 run until that basket. Now Olabode at the line. Has dealt with a health issue over the years that has really limited her effectiveness. Olabode came in as a kind of a gangbuster at the beginning of the year of her career. 25 starts as a freshman. Played very well. Dropped 22 as a sophomore on Idaho State, but has not been able to stay healthy enough to stay on the floor. Page doesn't hit a 3. Martin the offensive rebound, and Goodrich shuffles the feet to turn it over.
One of the few offensive boards for K-State in this ball game. It has been the domination of the Lady Raiders on the offensive glass, but Shaylin Martin kept that possession alive. and then you give it back. And K-State's gone now to that 1-3-1, where they're going to cause a lot of pressure. They're looking to trap and put these Texas Tech guards in a bad spot for more turnovers.
Right, nearly loses it right there, and does. Passes it right to Williams. 6 turnovers in the quarter. Goff lays it in on the other end and has 17.
And this is where it's more glaring for Texas Tech, where they don't have a real true experienced point guard. Somebody to be able to handle this pressure, and that's where you got to clear. You got to be able to move that ball against the zone and stay out of the traps.
K-State's defense has forced 6 Lady Raider turnovers in this quarter. Brewer, tough shot. Good offensive rebound and put in by Wilby.
Came from the weak side. She was out in the corner. No one blocked her out down low. An easy putback for the freshman.
Page, an open 3, way off the mark. Rebound, Martin almost had it. It goes off her foot.
Kaylee Page is 29%, Brian, from 3 in Big 12 play. And for her, it's about rhythm. And I just don't think she's really found it here tonight. Hasn't been the last couple games. She's been good defensively, trying to be active, get out there and be strong, be big. But Jeff Mittie needs that position and that player especially to be a scorer. They've got to have some point production from whoever's in at that 3-4 player. And right now, Kaylee Page is not able to find the bottom of the net, especially from 3-point range.
Wildcats just don't have enough options to cover one of their main scorers not scoring. Brewer spinning against Ranke. Tough matchup for Ranke, and Brewer has 15.
Yeah, that's a big-time move, though, because that's a pull-up jumper on a reverse. And she goes baseline with that left hand, is able just to elevate. I like that play by Brewer.
How about that look? Williams reversing it up and in on the assist from Martin. Do-it-all Shaylin Martin. Passing, rebounding. Senior hooks up with the sophomore Williams. Brewer over Williams, answers.
Sanders went baseline and was able to get by the defender, and then it was a scramble for K-State. Brewer left open, and she's got the hot hand right now for the Lady Raiders.
Ranke, who started hot with 3-point shooting, has missed her last few, and then the rebound on a foul committed on Texas Tech. That'll send us to a timeout. Wildcats, though, hitting on all cylinders with Goff and Williams, have pushed their lead out to 9.
Improving each day not only applies to our football program, but also to your health. Small daily improvements such as eating more fruits and vegetables, living tobacco-free, and taking a short walk can all make a great impact on your overall wellness. Please join me, the Kansas Health Foundation, and Stormont Vale Health in our PowerCat Health Partnership, encouraging all Kansans to live a healthier life.
In today's world, connections are everything, which makes your Wi-Fi even more important. With Cox high-speed internet, you can get the latest equipment and access to super fast in-home Wi-Fi. You also get the security you need to protect your privacy. And when you travel, we're right there with you, giving you access to more than 500,000 Wi-Fi hotspots across the country. At home or away, Cox has you covered. Learn more with the Cox Discover More video series at cox.com/learn.
What happens when you register your Cox account and get a user ID and password? You open up a world of possibilities for all your Cox services, like access to live TV and on-demand shows with the Contour app, and TV network apps to watch on the go. Cox Security Suite Plus, powered by McAfee, and phone tools to keep you connected when you leave home. Discover what you can do. Check out the Cox Discover More video series at cox.com/learn.
With Cox high-speed internet, you get access to super fast in-home Wi-Fi to power all your devices and do the things you love online. And now, when you're traveling, you have free access to the nation's largest Wi-Fi network with over 500,000 hotspots, so you can stay connected in places such as New York City, Los Angeles, Washington, D.C., Phoenix, and many more. Learn how with the Cox Discover More video series at cox.com/learn.
Well, K-State in their 50th season of women's basketball has been honoring some of their great players throughout the season, and here's one of them right there, Kimberly Dietz, who put together what an incredible senior campaign to help K-State to a Big 12 championship in 2007-08. That's with her son there, Emmett. To her husband Luke, the trainer for the men's basketball team for K-State, and they're currently in a battle with the Longhorns down in Austin, Texas. But Kimberly Deeds talking about somebody that made herself by the end of her career into one of the all-time greats. Started out slow as a role player and became a star by the end of it.
Well, and sometimes it just takes a lot of, and it's going to take a lot of work. And those are players that you see and how they develop and whether or not they've got the drive and determination to do that. Sometimes you have glimpses and you say, you know what, this is a league, this is a program that I can play in, and I think Kimberly Deeds did exactly that. You know, I would kind of mirror what we've seen with someone like Kayla Goth, who's just sort of grinds it out. You know, Kimberly Deeds had her fair share of injuries as well, and you've just got to be willing to stay with it. And when you do, good things will happen. And Kayla Goth leading the way this year so far for K-State.
Yeah, she has battled Goff through shoulder and some foot injuries. A loose ball that lands in the lap of DeGrate gives her another bucket. DeGrate has 12 points. That's her first second half basket. And again, the Lady Raiders doing just enough to stay in the game. Goodrich starts to drive, needs help. Williams gets the rebound on the jump shot.
Again, one of the few possessions K-State's been able to get a second chance look, and they're able to convert on the back door. There's been a lot of pressure up front on denial by Texas Tech. You got to go back door hard, and you got to complete the pass. Martin's done it numerous times here tonight.
Surprised a little bit that Tech has stayed that tight on K-State. The Cats just 3 of 15 from behind the three-point line. Well, they have hit numerous backdoor cuts. Skip pass through traffic, a dangerous look for Goff. Gets it back from Martin, and an air ball near three-pointer, but Williams the offensive rebound. Dangerous outlet pass will stay with K-State. A little bit frenetic here to end this quarter after a good start. Cats led 8-0 to start this quarter.
Well, and that was off Texas Tech's turnovers, and you kind of got to see where does that possession come, and that pace there is off misses, and so you're going to kind of try to go until you can get one, and I think the Cats out of sync the last couple possessions where they were much better to start this quarter.
Forced 5 straight turnovers to begin the quarter by Texas Tech. 6 in total. Make it 7 by the Lady Raiders in this frame.
Aggressive defense out front. The 1-3-1s caused some fits for these Texas Tech guards. Some easy transition buckets allowed them to put some distance between themselves and the Lady Raiders. These are the possessions, though, in the half court that are important where they get good execution.
Olabodi gets their third. Only the third foul on the Lady Raiders, so no free throws here. K-State will line up to inbound. Here comes Grayson Bright back in for Texas Tech. A little bit surprised we haven't seen, as you said, Jada Terry, not much, if at all, just the first 2 minutes of the game.
2 minutes of the game, didn't score.
Brielle Blair has hardly played.
Yep. And I think a lot of this comes down to the decisions that Shimmy Gray Miller is making of how she sees this opportunity as the interim head coach, what she's trying to instill. I had the chance to visit with her a few weeks ago. She talked about things like competitiveness, being concise, how they can have a good culture in and out, on the floor and off the floor. And sometimes it's just about finding the right 5 kids that are willing to buy in that day.
It's hard to fault that as we're sitting here saying, oh, where are these players?
Right.
But in the end, they're right there with K-State on the road.
Yep.
And they have played with tremendous fight in spirit and rebounding tenacity in this game.
Yep.
So it's hard to argue with the decisions been made about who's playing and who isn't. Bright drives, shot blocked, plucked out of the air by Williams.
And not afraid to go inside, but K-State with good defense down low. And that's where Peyton Williams has gotten so much better, to be able to go vertical and not foul when she sees somebody coming right at the bottom of that lane.
Such athleticism for Williams, the 2-sport star. All Big 12 freshman team selection in volleyball. Cats go to the backdoor cut again. Goodrich just can't quite hang on to it. It's knocked away by Sanders, so it'll stay with K-State.
And that's just the tough part about that denial out on the wing, is that if you're going to go for the denial, then you've got to be able to get some help on the backside. And they've sucked everybody up to that high post, and there's been no help side against those back cuts.
K-State will give Peyton Williams a breather here. The final 100 seconds or so of this quarter. Here comes Mary Lakes as well. Only 8 seconds on the shot clock for the Wildcats. Trying to get Lakes. Goff with 5. Spinning fadeaway jumper, no. The rebound, Lakes for the Wildcats. The freshman powers up and scores.
One of the few buckets K-State's had on the offensive glass, and Mary Lakes with good position on the weak side, ready to go after it, and gets it to go.
Wilby's gonna let go of 3, that'll be long. Sanders unable to hit, but the third chance goes. Pad those offensive rebounding numbers.
And Zuri Sanders, she's just a great athlete, and she has also been one of those players probably put in a little bit of a different position for Texas Tech. Stayed with it, gets the second opportunity to go and a chance at the three-point play. But they've sort of moved her out of that 4 spot, maybe played a little bit more of the 3. She's gone back to the 4, and I think it's been hard to kind of find her rhythm. But because she's such a good athlete, they can put her at really any position, that 3, 4, 5 spot, and she's gonna go after you. She's gonna board and play defense.
Goff fakes the 3, drops it into Lakes. Freshman center with a good move, but can't finish. And the Lady Raiders, if they go quick, you get a 2 for 1. Good pass to Sanders, finds the Great. She is fouled from behind.
And finally, they got some movement against that 1-3-1, and that's where you've got to go opposite. And you've got to get some cutting on the baseline. Ball went to Sanders, Bright able to find her, takes 2 dribbles, draw the double, and DeGreat was there. DeGreat actually had Kaylee Jones sealed earlier. Bright missed her, but now they got DeGreat at the line. She makes the first, she's got a chance here, and this thing changes a little bit momentum-wise, finishing out this third quarter.
Agreed. DeGreat suddenly now with 14 points. And it's a 6-point game. It looked like K-State was, at the beginning of this quarter, ready to run away and hide.
Yeah, the distance they had put between them because of the defense and the turnovers and the easy buckets. But now all of a sudden, a couple lapses, and Texas Tech's right back in this thing.
Lakes an answer with an and 1.
And that's where you can find another shift of momentum, is easy opportunities and late rotation by Texas Tech. And Mary Lakes just big, wanted the basketball, called for it, and able to finish.
You can see the potential in Lakes. Hasn't quite all come together for her. Thrown into the fire against some of the nation's best post players in this conference. Good touch from the free throw line. 5 points all in the quarter from Mary Lakes. The Wildcats have pushed the lead to 9, but can they get another stop? Lady Raiders have trailed by as many as 14 at one point in this quarter. Final 5 seconds of the quarter. DeGreat's gonna get a chance. Wild shot and a foul with 1 second left.
And a smart decision by Texas Tech for her to dig in and call for that basketball in the middle of the lane. They found her. 1 hard dribble and she's gonna go, and the big play right there by the freshman to find her inside. And I like the fact she called for it, man. She just was able to post up and be ready to go. And that's what you gotta want those touches down low. And Erin DeGreat, she's come to play here tonight.
Missed the first free throw, has 1 more coming up. Wildcats have the arrow, so they'll have the ball to begin the 4th. DeGreat misses both, and that'll end the quarter. So an opportunity perhaps missed there with a couple of free throws. K-State's lead is now 9. They did lead by 14, so credit to the Lady Raiders for getting back into it. The Wildcats, though, trying to hold serve at home in the 4th when we come back.
Today, opioid overdose kills more Americans than car crashes, and Kansas is not immune. Deaths from opioid overdoses among young people have risen dramatically in our state. I urge you to make this crisis a priority among your families and your friends. Healing starts with understanding the problem, recognizing the warning signs, and having the courage to act. Our young people need our help. Talk. It truly matters.
Welcome the newest member of our X family of games, the Kansas Lottery Multiplier Super Ticket. Score cash and multiply your bundle of joy up to $250,000.
Calling all Junior Wildcats. Do you want to experience once-in-a-lifetime activities and have a chance to team up with Willie? Become a part of the K-State family by joining the Junior Wildcats Club. For just $20, you'll receive a season ticket to all home K-State volleyball, soccer, women's basketball, and baseball games this year. Rack up points through the attendance reward program to win awesome K-State prizes. For more information about fun upcoming events, visit juniorwildcatsclub.com. Become a Junior Wildcat today.
It's the Bud Night. It's the Bud Night. We're saved. Yes. Dilly dilly!
Time to do what must be done. I did it.
Here's to the friends you can always count on.
Kansas State, as we head to the fourth quarter, leads by 9, trying to find a way to get back on the winning side of things. There have been glimpses of K-State getting back to their old selves, if you will. If you take a look at the numbers, K-State cooled off quite a bit shooting in that third quarter, but came out defensively with a renewed purpose that gives you some hope.
Well, and they were able to cause 7 turnovers in that third quarter, and those were possessions where Texas Tech didn't even get a shot, and they really struggled, especially early in the third, to get it against that 1-3-1 that K-State put on. With that said, the Cats able to convert. They didn't need the three-point shot because they were much more aggressive going the other direction. The battle is still on the boards, Brian, and I think where that's going to be one way or the other for Kansas State. They've got to hold their own. They've got to keep this Texas Tech team off the offensive glass. 18 points off turnovers for the Cats. That's a big difference here as well, heading into the fourth.
K-State gets the ball to start the fourth quarter, and it goes to Mary Lakes, who's had a good turn in this game here as of late, but a missed opportunity there. And the Lady Raiders back at the Wildcats the other end.
I would really like to see K-State take their time on their possessions.
Oh, nice screen.
And a huge play right there. And as I was just going to say, I would like to see K-State take the time in their possessions. Use some clock, force Tech to have to really guard you one-on-one here in the half court. When they've dialed in, had long possessions with good execution, it has been a struggle for Tech to get stops. That's what they've got to do here in this fourth.
Williams looking for Lakes. Now Ranke rattles in the three-pointer. Ranke had been a little quiet from behind the arc, but now has 18.
They got Texas Tech stuck on a bit of an interchange over there on that right wing, and Rachel Ranke coming off hard, looking for the basketball, feet set, ready to shoot, knocks that one down.
She had missed 5 straight three-pointers before that make. Lakes trying to take a charge. Is going to get called for the blocking foul. I'm not sure who that was that went flying. Was that Olabode?
Yeah, Olabode, and she goes hard baseline to the left, and Mary Lakes over and help, out of position, a lot of contact, and it's going to send Olabode to the free throw line.
As you said, just a bit late was Lakes trying to get that charge.
Yes.
4 fouls, but 5 points for Lakes. She'll check out.
Well, and I think they're trying to decide whether or not it was a shooting. Was she in the act of shooting, or is it going to be on the control? And she's going to shoot too, and that's the call right there by the officials. And she's now headed to the free throw line. I kind of thought she was headed to the free throw line the whole time, but apparently there was a miscommunication with the crew. But they figured it out.
Tina Napier, Bill Lawrence get together. Olabode awarded 2 free throws. She'll rattle in the first. 7 for Olabode off the bench today for the Lady Raiders, who have had some good production for their bench today. 26 bench points, a lot of that coming from DeGreat, who has played the majority of this game. Olabode 3 of 3 at the line. And again, the Lady Raiders within a few possessions. Williams trying to read the defense.
It's a zone look here from Texas Tech, and they've come out a bit of a 2-3 look, and then able to crash that glass on the weak side. No second chance opportunities from K-State. The Cats stand a little bit in that zone offense, and they don't get quite as good of a shot as they could.
Ranke 4 of 11 now from behind the arc. Brewer turns, shoots, unable to hit. Brewer 9 of 15 from the field. Williams, who could hit that shot, nearly travels. Tech content to suck in. Ranke, oh, not a good look at all, but Martin with the offensive rebound. Now Ranke shoots a three and degrade the board.
And they're able to clear. Now you're in transition. If you can attack, this is where Texas Tech is going to have an advantage. And there is Sanders with a couple buckets in that third quarter. One there now here in the fourth. A little bit more aggressive, and that's her athleticism taking over and gives Texas Tech an advantage.
Timeout, K-State. Lady Raiders have cut it to 6 on the road in Manhattan.
Plays it back for a page three. Swish!
Nicole backing in, spinorama right around her. She scored.
Martin sees an open lane, gets all the way to the basket. Chambers hits the three. What an impressive play by Corilla Middlebrooks.
Big Lou says get out. Bases loaded, 1 out. Bottom of the 9th. Cats and Sooners tied at 5, and the Cats trying to win a Big 12 title for the first time ever. Outside, it gets away to the plate. Kansas State has its title.
Chips it in the middle, a header into the goal, and a score for K-State.
America, the home of fun-seeking adventurists. And they all like draw games. But wait till they get a load of Lotto America. With tickets just $1, drawings twice a week, and jackpots starting at $2 million. It's Lotto America, sweet land of lottery.
K-State trying to hang on here in the fourth quarter against the Lady Raiders. It's a 6-point lead for K-State. They've led by as many as 14, but give credit to the Lady Raiders. They have shown a great fight and determination all night long, especially on the glass. And here they are down 2 possessions.
They continue to hold advantage on the rebounding margin. 18 offensive boards so far tonight. They're a slight advantage in the paint, 40-38 in terms of numbers, but they've had more second chance points as well. And I think the decision, they had one possession where they went 2-3 zone, caught K-State standing. They didn't get a lot of good movement against the zone in their offense, and Texas Tech was able to come back the other way off a rebound and get a bucket. And those are just a few possessions here or there when you mix things up, and it can throw a team off, you disrupt them. And that's how you can inch yourself back in. I think as this game continues on here in this fourth, as much as you can keep it a 2-3 possession ball game, I think Texas Tech stays right in this thing, Brian.
They have hurt K-State, no doubt, in the paint. Williams, baseline open jumper, normally right in her wheelhouse, but a little long.
And now you've seen a little bit of the drought as well for K-State. Possessions where they just haven't been able to score.
A missed opportunity there for the Lady Raiders. They had to great again, but she couldn't quite hang on.
No, led her just a little too far. She was going to catch in a bad spot, but it was the right thought by the freshman point guard. They were looking for a quick hit, and they had it down low. Now they go back to that zone, see if they can't catch the Cats standing again within their zone offense.
Ranke sets her feet and can't hit. Started the game 2 of 2 and 3 of 4, but has struggled since. Just 1 of 9 behind the arc since that time. Williams a little gun shy. Will take it to the basket and get fouled.
Yeah, she thought about shooting that jumper right there. Could have gone left or right with one dribble. Instead, decides to go right. A contact with DeGrate, passed up the jumper. And then DeGrate catches her arm as she goes, and so now she's going to be back at the free throw line, where that is one of the better places that K-State likes to have her. 75% from the field in league play. Excuse me, from the free throw line in league play.
Let's go, Wildcats.
I'll take that over a baseline jumper if you can put her at the line right now.
And on the season at 83%. Started out the year close to 90%. As you said, it's been a little bit less in Big 12 play. And right on the average there, 3 out of 4 in conference action. But still, as a post player, you're going to get to the line a lot, you would think. Williams is a weapon there for K-State. Olabode lines up a 3. In and out, no. And Reinke the rebound. The Lady Raiders have hit just 1 of 13 from behind the arc. K-State nearing 3 minutes without a field goal. And Williams fouled again, headed back to the line.
And that's what they have to do, is continue to feed her, give her opportunities to score down there. And if she's going to get fouled, it's going to send her to the free throw line. Texas Tech mixing it up between the zone and the man. They've gone man on miss, zone on the makes. That time they go one-on-one down low, and Williams back at the free throw line.
Williams makes the first 16 for Peyton Williams, who has 7 rebounds as well. Goff leads all scorers with 19 and 7 assists. Brewer with 19 and 11 for Texas Tech. Williams missed the second. So 4 of 6 at the line for Williams. Reinke with 18, Goff 19, Williams 16. Nobody else has more than 5. DeGrate to Brewer. Missed it, but got fouled.
High-low look, and they were trying to find that little rub screen again down there on that low block. They kind of set up a stack with DeGrate and Brewer. High-low opportunity, and Brewer's back at the free throw line. That's just good decision-making inside by these post players. They've got a knack for finding the open player, and they're very much improved with their interior passing.
Second career 20-point game for Brittany Brewer, who had 25 against Massachusetts Lowell earlier this year. This is her first 20-point effort in Big 12 play. Goff passes to Martin. That's her first field goal of the game.
She sees the floor so well, and with no panic whatsoever with Kayla Goff. She puts the ball in her hands, gets to the middle of the floor, and makes good things happen.
20 assists for K-State here tonight. Olabode fouled as she goes up.
And there has been a lot of opportunities for Texas Tech tonight at the free throw line, Brian, where they just haven't made a lot of free throws. They're just 11 of 20 so far. But they've come from penetration, and it's been going baseline, finding an open player, and that time Olabode just able to muscle it up and draws a foul. But you like how aggressive they have been off the dribble to be able to attack these K-State zones, whether it's the 1-3-1 or the 2-3, and they've given themselves a fighting chance by getting to the free throw line.
Olabode's second free throw, this to get to double figures. She'll miss it. Brewer, another offensive rebound. Martin took it away, but it goes out of bounds. Well, K-State on the other side of it has been so good offensively here tonight. Much better than we've seen as of late. For more on that, on the assist numbers for the Wildcats, we go to Caitlin Sabbert.
Hey, Brian, K-State has an assist rate of a little over 64% this season, which ranks them 35th in the nation in assisted shot rate. This is the 5th season in a row K-State has recorded a rate 60% or higher, and this year it's led by none other than Kayla Goff, who ranks first in the Big 12 in assists and has been a huge leader for this team, Brian.
All right, thank you. And assists, again, the number for the Goff tonight at 8, among the best of the Big 12. Brewer with that shot a moment ago gives Texas Tech within 6. Goff this time doesn't need the assist, she'll just score it. She's got 21.
And that was a muscle isolation right there against the 5'6" Hayden. They cut her off that screen, one-on-one in the low block, and she's able to score. But the last possession was an offensive board and a putback by Brittany Brewer. She's got 22, and a big night for the sophomore from Texas Tech.
Shaylin Martin trying to take a charge. It's called for the block. K-State fans don't like it.
Yeah, you're going to see Olabode, and she kind of gets through there, loses her dribble. It was a pocket picked by Kayla Goff as she comes through, and the contact comes really after she lost the basketball, but it stays with Texas Tech.
Probably no call more than anything there.
Yeah, I would have probably let it go. I mean, we're going to have a run out maybe the other direction, but either way.
K-State ends up getting the turnover forced. 8-point game with under 5 minutes to go.
And back to patience here in the half court. Texas Tech back to their man-to-man.
Goff lost the dribble, and Jeff Mitty wants a timeout. Only 10 seconds on the shot clock. The Wildcats will use one of their last 2 remaining timeouts. And the Wildcats, we go back to that assist stuff that we talked about before. The reason why it matters on the offensive end is that K-State's concern coming in was twofold. One, the defense with Iowa State just obliterating the Wildcat defense, but the other one was offense. K-State, as you outlined earlier, had scored less than 50 points in back-to-back games. Yep. They had gone through a 6-game stretch where they were averaging less than 55 a game. As you look at the last 6 games, Jeff Mitty called it the funk. Right? This flu season, right? So yeah. K-State caught the funk the last 6 games. It's been better tonight.
16 points in the second half against Iowa State in that blowout loss they had here on Saturday. And it goes back to certain things. You look at the points scored, points allowed, your field goal percentage, etc. The rebounding margin, a huge factor. This team, they have struggled. Tonight, they're better, but they have not been good all season long on the glass. But I think so much of it comes down to shot selection. Making sure you've got good shots within the framework of your offense. When are you taking them and who is taking them? Those are the things that I've looked for tonight, and it has been better for Kansas State, giving them a chance. And we all know when this team hits the magic number of 70, they put themselves in a spot to win. Didn't even break 50 in the last 2 games, so they are way ahead of schedule here tonight.
7-2 this year when scoring 70 or more. Long rebound comes back to the Lady Raiders. Into DeGrate. Wild shot will go out of bounds to the Lady Raiders.
But that possession stays alive for Texas Tech with another offensive rebound coming from the 5'6" guard, Angel Hayden. That is a sellout by everybody to get to the glass and generate some extra opportunities, and they have done it all night long.
Credit to Texas Tech. They have played hard, even in a season that for the most part has been a lost campaign. Near turnover on the inbound. It ends up with Brewer. She hits another. And Brewer with 24.
Such great touch and great. How many times have we seen tonight where the ball has just been near her? She's been able to grab it, finish, and score. And that is a big key for Texas Tech to be able to stay in this game, is Brittany Brewer being involved and being assertive.
The Wildcats, we've been lauding their offense, but they're just 3 of 10 here in the 4th quarter. Williams driving hard. Sanders standing underneath the basket will commit the foul and get Williams back to the free throw line.
Yeah, she was late on the help side, but I like the touches from Peyton Williams. This is where she's got to be assertive and she's got to be aggressive. You have a 75 to 80% free throw shooter. She's got to get touches and she's got to go to the rim. And she's done it here now the last 3 or 4 times. Hasn't been as good at the free throw line tonight as she normally has been, which is usually how it goes when you talk about somebody's high free throw percentage. They start missing.
K-State just 3 of 6 from the line as a team here in this 4th quarter. All of that from Williams. 3-possession game though. And now Martin just pickpockets the freshman in the backcourt and goes coast to coast, but misses the layup. Goff cleans it up.
And that is why you follow in a breakout each and every time. You never leave a teammate alone. Shaylin Martin couldn't get it to go, but as we've seen time and time again, Kayla Goff cleaning up somebody else's miss.
23 points, 8 assists, 6 boards for Goff. The great unable to finish.
And that's one of the few she's missed. She's 6 of 12, 50%, a 54% field goal shooter on the season in Big 12 play. There haven't been many bunnies that Texas Tech has missed tonight. That's one of the few, and it comes at an inopportune time.
K-State trying that back cut again, this time deflected out by the Lady Raiders.
Big possession right here for K-State. 14 left on the shot clock, Brian. And this is where they've got to get that good execution on their out of bounds. You got to make the next pass. You can't be in a hurry. You got to allow the defense to present, read it, and see where the open is.
Ranky trying to get loose. Goff will inbound all the way up to Shaylin Martin. Goff trying to post up. Finds a cutting. Williams! 30-1!
And a great play to be able to give Goff the basketball against Hayden. She had a one-on-one. But Peyton Williams with the flash cut down low and a chance at the three-point play. Texas Tech caught back on their heels. Not many possessions tonight where they've been caught standing still on defense, but they were then. That's where they were then. And those are the momentum switches. K-State, they were up 9, now you're up 11. You got a chance to move this thing to 12, and that's exactly where Jeff Mitty would like to see it with 2:27 left.
Back to the free throw line. Peyton Williams missed the free throw. Ball deflected out long, goes to the Lady Raiders. Will be met as she spins, tied up by Ranky. Arrow favors Texas Tech. Olabode calling for it. Hits the three-pointer.
Got lost in the corner off their out-of-bounds execution, which was just a crisscross of their post. Drew all the attention by K-State and left Olabode open in the corner. Second three of the game for Texas Tech. She's knocked down both.
Goff trying to run clock. Gets past Hayden to the basket, lays it in. Goff has got 25.
One-on-one against the freshman, just kept the dribble alive until she had to make a play. She was either going to score or find somebody open. No help side. She's able to finish.
Goff has come to play tonight. The Stars have risen to the challenge by their head coach. 25, and now a steal by Goff. 25 points, 9 assists, 6 boards, and a couple of steals.
And this is the limit possessions right here. K-State now in the driver's seat. You've got to take care of the basketball as this thing ticks under a minute and a half.
Goff trying to get Hayden off. Gets past the freshman, into the lane, pulled up jumper. Again, a new career high for Kayla Goff.
One possession at a time for Kansas State down the stretch, and it has been all Kayla Goff.
27 points for the junior point guard. And a three-pointer, the answer back from Wilby. Timeout for Shimmy Gray Miller.
And now Texas Tech's going to talk about what they want to do defensively. They want pressure up on Kayla Goff and the ball handler. If I'm Texas Tech, you got to force the ball out of Goff's hands. You got to put some pressure. Maybe it's a face guard deny. You just can't let her catch. You're going to have to make somebody else bring the ball up, get them into their offense. A miscue defensively by Rachel Ranky got lost again. Left Wilby open. One of the few Lady Raiders that's got three-point range. Has shot the ball pretty well during her freshman year. You can't give them that time to get their feet set. But this still now K-State with that 9-point lead. And I would look for Tech to put some pressure on here. And again, force that ball out of Kayla Goff's hands.
Now, right now, she's doing it all for K-State. 19 shots, but Jeff Mitty said he's all right with it. I mean, listen, they got to get their stars, Williams and Goff, shots. And right now, 30 combined efforts, takes by each. You're right with it. You're okay with it.
You have to. You've got to be able to give her an opportunity to score, and those are the places where she can do it. And when you're the primary ball handler, a lot of times the way a play is going to develop, and I think the mentality of what they've and where they've put her in a spot to be from her kind of how do I control the game at the point position is you got to keep the ball in your hands so you can make a play. Keep the ball in your hands until you can score or find somebody else that's going to score easily within the framework of that offense. Tonight, she's been able to keep the ball in her hands. She's got 27 off 11 of 19. Those are pretty darn good numbers.
Absolutely. Now Rachel Ranky one free throw away from grabbing 20 points in a game for the 4th time this year. She too has answered the challenge. The freshman for K-State.
Well, and we said, who's going to be the other person that's going to step up and score? They need someone else to score points besides Goff and Williams. Ranky's been that tonight, and they've got some solid contribution from others.
Air ball three-pointer, follow doesn't go. Williams the rebound, able to outlet before she's fouled, and Ranky grabbed by Olabode. And now it begins to be the writing on the wall that K-State's going to survive at home.
You know, you've got to give credit to this Texas Tech team. It has been a long few weeks for the Lady Raiders. And I think until you've been in that position where you've had an interim coach come in, someone who'd been an assistant first year on the staff at Texas Tech under Candy Whitaker before she was relieved of her head coaching position. I think what Shimmy Gray Miller brings is a sense of urgency, of enthusiasm, And the one thing that they've been trying to instill in this group is that you got to compete from whistle to whistle for 40 minutes. And there have been games where they've been able to stay in it for 3.5 quarters. There's been games where they've been in for 3, and one bad quarter will do you in. But tonight, the one thing you will say is each and every game, they're going to come out and give effort. And there's been great effort tonight by Texas Tech.
Texas Tech on the rebound fell out of bounds. It'll be K-State basketball the other way. There's an example of that effort, just crashing the glass.
And that's one of the kind of key bullet points that they talk about every game. We're going to sell out to the boards. We need extra possessions. How do we do that? It might not be points right away. We just got to get touches and other opportunities to score. And you do that by just having a nose and a knack to go after the basketball on the offensive glass.
Wilby gets the foul, puts Shaylin Martin at the line. We'll see if Shaylin Martin can continue her perfect free throw percentage in Big 12 play. She has been 16 of 16 in league play. Looks like the Wildcats will be able to survive here and move to 17-1 under Jeff Mittie when scoring 80 points or more in a game. And there you go. She misses a free throw after
We talked about great high percentages and people missing, and then a streak that goes no longer.
Yep.
A new one started right there.
There you go.
1 out of 2.
Martin makes the second free throw. Martin with 3 points, but 7 boards, 8 assists. And now Goff out of the game, 27 points, 9 assists, 6 boards, 3 steals for the junior point guard Goff.
And I think that's just what the doctor ordered, was to be able to not only have Kayla Goff have a big night scoring the basketball, but to be the facilitator that she normally is, for Peyton Williams to be better offensively, for Rachel Ranke to be more comfortable and to get involved in the offense. They needed a night where they started to click offensively, and having come off 2 bad games, 2 losses, 2 poor offensive performances, this is, I think, going to be a very welcome change in that Wildcat locker room postgame.
Wiggins makes the first free throw. Has 1 more coming up. No Ashley Ray tonight, out with illness. So the Cats had 9 players available, and all 9 have scored as Wiggins makes both. So the walk-on from New Jersey is in the book with 2 points. And the Wildcats will win meeting number 1 with the Lady Raiders. The finale, the regular season finale, will be in Lubbock, Texas for these 2 squads before the Big 12 championship. K-State gets the 13-11, 5-8 in the Big 12. Texas Tech falls to 7-16 and 1-11 in Big 12 play.
What happens when you register your Cox account and get a user ID and password? You open up a world of possibilities for all your Cox services, like access to live TV and on-demand shows with the Contour app, and TV network apps to watch on the go. Cox Security Suite Plus, powered by McAfee, and phone tools to keep you connected when you leave home. Discover what you can do. Check out the Cox Discover More video series at cox.com/learn.
With Cox high-speed internet, you get access to super-fast in-home Wi-Fi to power all your devices and do the things you love online. And now, when you're traveling, you have free access to the nation's largest Wi-Fi network with over 500,000 hotspots, so you can stay connected in places such as New York City, Los Angeles, Washington, D.C., Phoenix, and many more. Learn how with the Cox Discover More video series at cox.com/learn.
Wildcats with a win here tonight against Texas Tech in the first meeting between the 2 teams. The Wildcats able to hold off a good charge for the Lady Raiders down the stretch and win it 83-69. Ryan Smolder back with Missy Heidrich to wrap things up here. Boy, great fight by Texas Tech. I mean, if you're Shimmy Gray Miller, listen, the season hasn't gone the way you wanted, but great effort by them to make it a game. And for K-State, you're looking for any positives, the positive was offensively they got back on track.
They had to get out of the funk. We said it kind of midway through that first half, and we saw them get themselves out with good shot selection. You put people in the right spot who need to take the shots at the right time, and they stepped up and knocked them down. And we knew at the start someone else besides Kayla Goth and Peyton Williams had to be a contributor. They got that tonight from the freshman Rachel Ranke, but I do love how efficient someone like Kayla Goth is with the basketball. She's either going to create for herself or for her teammates, but I like also what this team brought energy-wise defensively. There have been times where they have struggled to get stops, and they've really had to dig in and say, hey, are we going to commit to this? We've got to be better. Some miscues early, but when it was all said and done, you caused 21 turnovers, 26 points off those 21 turnovers. Those are the difference makers. They got dominated on the glass again. Could have been worse, but you give up 23 offensive boards, you know that's going to be a conversation with his coaches as they break down that film. But this is what the doctor ordered, Brian. They needed to score. They needed to be better on both ends of the floor, and I think they finally were able to put 4 quarters together after a couple nights where they didn't have 4 quarters at all.
Yep, Kayla Goff, the big story, 27 points, 9 assists, 6 boards, and 3 steals to lead the way for the Wildcats. Aaron DeGreat and company certainly made a game of it, but in the end, the Cats get it done at home. Big thanks to Andy Leach, our producer-director, Caitlin Sabbert, our sideline reporter. For Missy Heidrich, I'm Brian Smoller. Thank you for watching Wildcat Basketball.